nature, one with trees, one with bears and one with bees. Animals are my companions, bayonet and bird of prey. My growing swarm, it will envelop every enemy in my way. An enchanted forest, deep and wide, it heals me, yes, it gives me life. Leeching vines and lotus flowers, soothing spores will give me power. In the cold, that's where I feel at home. Arctic blast and northern storm, coat me in a frosty cloak, slay my foes with piercing cold. That's where I feel at home. Arctic blast and northern storm, coat me in a frosty cloak, slay my foes with piercing cold. Masters over beasts and plants, mushrooms and the winterlands. For Wardens there is nothing greater than protecting Mother Nature. Masters over beasts and plants, mushrooms and the winterlands. For Wardens there is nothing greater than protecting Mother Nature. Masters over beasts and plants, mushrooms and the winterlands. For Wardens there is nothing greater than protecting Mother Nature.
Greetings and welcome back to the channel, guys. Today we are going over a Magicka Warden build. It's a very simple build, the pretty much easiest build I've ever done, because we're basically just using one really important item, but I'll tell you all about it in a bit. By the way, we're live on Twitch right now. If you're not following on Twitch, if you're still missing out on these amazing streams, guys, there's going to be a link down in the comments. You click on that, you come over here, you follow, you never miss a stream again, okay? That's all I wanted to say. Let's get into the build. So, looking at the stats here, 27.5k health. Of course, this is going to go up because we are a Warden, so 30k on the dot, basically. 23.5k max Magicka and 19.5k stamina. Not bad. Those recoveries go up, of course, when we buff up. So you're gonna have plenty of recoveries. You're definitely gonna be over 2k Magicka recovery, and you're gonna be over like 16 or 1700 stamina recovery, fully buffed. So pretty nice here. The spell damage goes up to I'm not quite sure, like something over like 6k. When you're like fully torqued, basically, 6.3 here, I think. Yeah, I don't know, 6.5 up to 7, depending on the buffs that you get. So definitely decent damage here. The resistances, they're not going to be like crazy good on this build because, you know, it is what it is. But like here on the back bar, if you look at it, 27k spell resistance and 26k physical resistance. Not too shabby, but like, you know, not hard capped. If you're looking for hard cap, you could technically do it. It's really easy actually to up the resistances on this build if you want to, and I'll explain that in a second. And yeah, our Mundus is the warrior. You can go with warrior, you can go with the spell damage one. You could go for penetration technically if you wanted to. It's all gonna even out eventually. Using the Witch Mother Potent Brew, I think this is like one of the best and still cheapest foods out there. This is the food of choice. Of course, you can use other foods if you feel like you want, for example, more regens on both ends. You can go with either the Bear Haunch or the Jewels of Misrule. but I don't think it's necessary on this one. Vamp stage 1, I rarely ever go for Vamp stage 3 on these builds. Of course you would get the tankiness, but in my opinion it's not worth it, because you're just gonna pay more for your skills, and I just don't like it. I don't like it. If you want it, sure, you can do it, but Vamp stage 1 is enough for me. So let's look at the amazingly complicated setup for this build. You need the Torc of the last Ayleid king, and that's it basically. The rest is just random junk you can throw onto your build. The only thing that really matters is the quality of your gear and the traits. So what this thing does is it gives you an amazing 15% damage reduction. It gives you an amazing 1300 weapon and spell damage and 500 magic and stam recovery, but all item set bonuses are disabled. So no matter what you put on, you're not going to get any item set bonuses. So you can just throw on whatever pieces you have as long as the quality is good and you have the right traits on them. So looking at the traits here, I got some burning spellweave rings here. Just throw on whatever you have. If you have golden rings, of course, put them on. You want to have the highest quality. Infused here on the jewelry. When it comes to the armor, of course, we're wearing the heavy trainee piece. You don't have to, because if you have any heavy reinforced chest, you can put it on here. The heavy reinforced chest is going to give you the most armor. That's why we have that on, right? Outside of that, I have impan on my gear. This one's impan too. Those pants are reinforced too. Of course, you can go reinforce on all of them, or like any mix of impan and reinforce to kind of like dial in your crit damage resistance and your armor the way you like it. That's the good thing about this mythic here, because you can just throw on any random pieces and they don't have to be of the same set, because you don't get the set bonuses anyway. You can just do whatever you want, really, right? You just look at the right traits and you just put on whatever you have. Makes it very easy to kind of swap things out and try different things, because you're not going to ruin any set bonuses, right? So you can try different weapons, you can try different traits on your jewelry, different traits on your armor, different armor weights, and just really dial in your play style and figure out like what's the best thing for you. Right now we're using let me see how many, three heavy pieces. We're using 3 medium pieces and 1 light. So 3 heavy, 3 medium, 1 light is the setup that I went for. But yeah, if you feel like, oh, I want more damage, of course you can drop the heavy pieces. You go for more light and for more medium pieces, whatever, you know, that's up to you. You can do that the way you want. And then on the weapons, I got the Master Lightning Staff. Doesn't matter, it's just a sharpened lightning staff. And then on the back bar, I have a powered Resto Staff. Of course, Resto Staff gives you healing bonuses anyway, and then you have the 9% increased healing done with the power trait. So you just squeeze out a little extra healing out of that build. And that's basically it. So you just throw on whatever pieces you have that have the right quality and the the right traits, and that's it. Like a super interesting mythic, very powerful, and just like I said, it gives you the freedom to just swap out pieces on the fly and just kind of dial in your playstyle. The way you get this mythic, by the way, is by doing the Infinite Archive. You gotta just do it like a million times and then you get it. Some people just get it after running it a couple times. For me, it took closer to like 30 hours of farming that. I got really unlucky on that one, so it took me a long time. I'm glad it's finally here. I'm glad I can finally play these builds. But yeah, if you're lucky, you're gonna get it way faster than I do. I hope you do, because 30 hours of farming that Infinite Archive, brother, painful, very painful. Anyway, so that's the gear. Let's look at the skills real quick. So the setup that I'm running here is, of course, Deep Fissure. That's your bread and butter burst DPS. Then I have a ascribed skill, Dazing Soul, which is going to be the magic damage with the stun. So you take the stun option here. That's going to give you half the damage. Normally you would have double the damage, but if you put a stun on, you only do half the damage. But you get that stun, which is super nice to have on a Warden, because the Warden kind of misses, you know, like a dedicated stun. I was running this with, by the way, full damage and the Warden class skill, which basically charms people. That's fun and all, but after playing with it for a couple of days, I decided to go back to the stun, because a lot of people are kind of learning how to counter the charm, and the charm just wasn't effective enough anymore. So I went back to a hard stun. It just works better to set up a nice burst combo, and you don't have to wait for that delayed charm that's happening. And yeah, you just get the stun whenever you need it. Then I went with the Druid's Resurgence, restores 1000 magicka and stamina. That kind of just makes it so that this skill is basically not 3.8k magicka, but only like 2.8k magicka. Makes it a lot cheaper to cast. And you get that stamina back too, which is, of course, really nice if you have a very active playstyle with blocking and dodging and stuff like that. That's going to help you maintain your stamina a little bit more. And then I put a Major Defile on because I think that's a really good effect to have. 12% healing reduction and damage shield reduction is super nice. It really helps like setting up a nice burst with the stun, and then you put the Defile on, they get hit by that massive damage spike, and then when they try to heal themselves, you know, they're going to be defiled and they're not going to heal for the full value. So I think that makes a lot of sense. Then as our basically spammable Crushing Shock. Yeah, that's it. Crushing Shock. It's great to interrupt enemies. So if people are sieging, if people are rezzing, if people are casting something with the cast time, you just pop a quick Crushing Shock on them. It's going to interrupt them. It's going to stun them, which is super nice. I just love doing it because you have a lot of range with this thing too, right? So you can kind of control the battlefield. People are hopping on siege. You just pop a Crushing Shock. They get stunned on the siege. Someone's trying to res their buddy, boom, you pop a Crushing Shock on them, they get stunned. So it's really nice to like kind of control what people are doing around you. The next one, Bird of Prey, just gives you the movement speed and gives you the minor berserk. Really nice. Having extra movement speed is, I just love it. And I like this way more than Race Against Time. So for me, that's the way we're going to do it. Inner Light, this is going to give you some extra magicka. And of course, it's going to give you your crit bonuses, but you could kind of treat this as like a flex spot if you want to put something else here. If you say, oh, you know what, I don't need the Inner Light, you put something else here. I like having it on because it's extra damage. You get the extra max magicka, which translates into damage, and then you're going to crit more often, which translates into damage. The ultimate on the front bar, Ice Comet, of course, you can go with the classic Dawnbreaker. But I felt like since I'm playing this build usually not up close, but more at like a mid distance, because the Shulks actually have quite the distance. They got a 20-meter distance on them. So you're kind of playing at like the mid range, because like, all these things are like ranged, right? So you don't have to be close to your target. You can kind of keep your distance to them. So having the Ice Comet, I feel like was just better, because with the Dawnbreaker, you got to go in close. You kind of have to risk that. With this thing, you can just, you know, you shoot that thing, and you can do good combos with it too, of course, right? You pop your Deep Fissure, you pop your Ice Comet, you hit them with the Dazing Soul, they get stunned, and then you pop your Crushing Shock, and it's going to go off at the same time as your Shulks go off, and the Meteor is going to hit them. So that's some nice burst combos. Killed a lot of people like that. They just don't expect that. That much damage coming in and like that stun at that moment. So really nice. And that stun is really important too, because a lot of people are blocking the Ice Comet. So you definitely want to make sure you hit the Ice Comet and then instantly stun them, so that you know, they don't have time to like get their block up and you know, block your Meteor. On the back bar, we got a Healing Contingency, which is a super nice and strong scribing skill. So we went with the burst heal, the heal over time, and I put the minor intellect and minor endurance on, which is basically, I was using this one here, right? I was using Enchanted Growth, which basically heals for, yeah, roughly the same amount. But it's more expensive, and it also gives you the minor intellect, minor endurance. But this one just, it didn't feel right. It was a little too expensive, and you know, it only has the burst heal, and this one I can put a heal over time on it. So I decided, you know what, I'm not going to use this. I'm going to basically recreate this skill as a scribed skill by having that burst heal, giving it a heal over time, and then also still putting the minor intellect, minor endurance on, which is super nice to have for your regens, because you of course get the major buffs from your pot. You pop this, you get the minor buffs, and yeah, it's just sustain. It's just not going to be an issue on this build, really. And then of course the next one, Resolving Vigor, which is also a heal over time, and of course you kind of stack them together. So the heal over time from here and the whole heal over time from here, they're going to stack together and kind of keep you alive, which is really nice. And then of course you get the minor resolve, your minor armor buff, which is really good to have. And that's honestly why this skill is still so popular, and you can find it on any build, is heal over time plus an armor buff. That's just a godly combo. The next one, Shimmering Shield, super important for all this range damage that's going to happen to you. Sorcs are really dangerous these days. Sorcs are hitting really hard. You know, like an overload with like you know, like all the proc damage that's going on. Like, people pop this stuff on you and they can easily kill you. So having the Shimmering Shield is really important. But not only is it going to absorb 3 projectiles for like a total of 14k damage, the really cool stuff is it's going to give you major heroism for 6 seconds, which is absolutely fantastic, but also 2 ultimate per projectile absorbed. So if you just keep your shield up and people are hitting it, you are buffing up your ultimate gen like crazy. So which is absolutely fantastic, because that just means you can pop more ultimates. And yeah, I love the skill. I want to run it on every build. I feel naked if I don't run it, because it's just like that protection from projectiles, and that protection and like the ultimate gen that you get from it. It's just absolutely fantastic. Nothing else does that. And then of course your main armor buff gives you your major resolve, and also gives you the minor protection, just a little extra damage absorption. Really nice. Next one, your Blue Betty, you know, it's just your major brutality and sorcery buff, and you get a little bit of extra magicka back. So that's basically some hidden recovery that you have that's not going to show up in your stat sheets. And every 5 seconds you're going to remove a harmful effect. But you can also spam this. You can spam Blue Betty to just remove as many effects as you want, because it's free. You can just spam it over and over again. You're also going to give get a little bit of a heal for spamming it, due to your Warden passives. But yeah, I love that. So the way I usually like I can basically stand in siege fire. Like, I can stand at a door when they're pouring oil on me, and I'm just rotating contingency, resolving vigor. When I pop my vigor, the contingency goes off. So in case you don't know how contingency works, in case you have never used it, you basically use it, and it's like it's basically waiting for you to make an input, right? You got to do something that costs resources. That can be casting a skill, that can be casting an ultimate, that can be breaking free, that can be dodge rolling, right? So if you just cast it, it's not going to do anything. You have 20 seconds, it's on you. And if you do anything that has a cost attached to it, it goes off. So the way I heal is basically I pop this and I pop my vigor. Both of them go off at the same time. Or I pop this and I dodge roll. It goes off. Or you pop this, you have it active on you, someone stuns you, you break free. The break free is going to cost you some resources. It's going to go off, right? That's basically how that skill works. So I pop these 2, and then I spam the Blue Betty to basically remove all the, you know, the fire dots that I have on me when people shoot me with siege. It's really good. So you can basically just sit in siege. If you do it right, you just got to keep your heals up, and you got to keep purging. That's it. Really, really nice for like survival. And the ultimate on the back part, Northern Storm. This thing hits like a truck, is really, really strong. It gives you the major protection, and it's basically, there's like two use cases for it. Like, you have an offensive use case for it. You run into a group of people, you pop this thing, and this is more your like sustained pressure damage. If you don't want to hit like a meteor, because there's like multiple people, you don't know who to hit, you just pop this thing, so you have your sustained pressure around you. And of course, it's going to make you more tanky too, which ties into the next use case, a defensive use case. People are jumping you, and you're like, I need like some form of protection right now. This is too many people. You pop this thing, you get the major protection, but also since you're doing the damage around you and it's hitting pretty hard, most people don't really want to sit in your Northern Storm, so they kind of keep their distance a little bit. So this can actually help you get people off of you and give you some room to breathe, and you know, make sure you can heal up and buff back up. So that's basically it. Let's look at the CP real quick. It's going to be a fast one, green one. You do whatever you want. I'm doing Gifted Rider, Warmount, Steed's Blessing, and Sustained Shadows. In the blue one, we're doing Fighting Finesse, Mastered Arms, Biting Aura, and Backstabber. Of course, you take all the free ones. You know how that works. And then in the red tree, we're going Boundless Vitality, Sustained by Suffering, Pain's Refuge, and Rejuvenation. So Sustained by Suffering and Rejuvenation both give you extra sustain. That's why I'm saying your sustain actually is really, really nice. Like, once you have everything procced and everything is going, yeah, you're going to be sustaining very, very well. You're going to have really high recoveries. And then, of course, Pain's Refuge is going to give you up to a 20% damage mitigation for, you know, depending on how many negative effects you have on you. This is really nice for those like moments where you can't really purge, where you have to like be active and you gotta heal and you gotta fight. This is going to make you more tanky. But I would not leave negative effects on you if you don't have to, right? If you have the means, purge them off with your Betting Edge. But in those moments where you just can't do that, this is going to give you some extra tankiness. And that's basically it. That's the build. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. All you need is that Torc of the Last Ayleid King. Super interesting way to play a build. Of course, you're missing some options for fine-tuning because you don't have set bonuses. So you're not going to have any like super interesting play styles that you can get from certain sets. But for just, you know, if you just want to like play a class and you don't really know what direction you want to go in, yeah, just use that for a while, and then you can figure out like what you want to do with like other sets. Really nice, really easy. I hope you guys like the build. Try it out. It's like the easiest thing, and it just works fine. This thing plays like a dream. I hope you liked it, and if so, like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll be back with another video soon. Take it easy. Bye bye.